again, following last Thursday's events, we're going to go on to the plans that we've got for now. What's maybe I might not have felt as enthusiastic about, mate, on that the end of the evening the other night, but I'm still starting to get that European feeling back that miracles might happen, mate. So we're going to bring a bit of energy, and actually that's what this event that we're going to be putting on prior to the second leg is going to be all about, and I will go into some information about that. First off, mate, how did you enjoy it last Thursday? And give me a little bit of your feelings on how things ended up with the result.
A bit of both. I enjoyed the event. The game, to be fair, I was enjoying the game up until we conceded. You know, it wasn't pretty, but it was working. And to some extent, it did work. We conceded 2 via set pieces. So arguably, the tactics to some extent did work in terms of open play. They didn't score. So while it was 0-0, I was happy. The thing that was actually getting me a little bit concerned whilst it was still 0-0 was, first of all, Paquetá got booked and then Emerson got booked. So I felt that even though 0-0 would have been a good result, the circumstances had changed. So before the game, I think 0-0 would have been a fantastic result. But it was sort of still a good result, but not as good because we were now missing 2 players for the return leg. So I felt there was almost a little bit of pressure on us to probably pinch the game in Germany. Once those got booked, I think the circumstances were different. But to concede the first one was a real low blow and knocked the stuffing out of me, and it felt like the second one came pretty quickly after it, and I was probably not recovering from conceding the first one. I was still pretty down about conceding the first one, and the second one was almost like twisting the knife. I got stabbed and now I was getting twisted to just inflict more pain. And at 1-0 I thought, oh, bloody hell, this is going to be hard. But at 2-0, I'm not going to lie, Frankie, on the night I thought this is impossible. Like, this is when I left the colour factory, I felt like we were out of Europe. And it wasn't a nice feeling. Tried to sort of be positive because I had a nice evening and I thought anything can happen. It's football. We've seen it. Champions League last night is another example that anything can happen in football. But I don't know. Logically, if I think with my head, I struggle to convince myself that we're going through. But just got to try and find something from in here that says, hey, hang on a minute. Hang on. You can still do this. It's difficult at the minute. Weirdly, because of the Fulham game, just as much as the Leverkusen game. So it's not just the Leverkusen game's knocked me down a peg or 2. I think the Fulham one's probably knocked me down 2 or 3 pegs, actually. And that's the one that's possibly sucked any little bit of enthusiasm and hope I had. I think the Fulham game just set fire to that one. It's ashes. There's a phoenix in there somewhere.
No, I agree with you, mate. It was really interesting as it goes, because where that we had so much atmosphere at the event, and before the game, obviously, Mad Dog had got everybody up for it. Martin Allen done his usual, get on stage, pull people up, and get the songs going. And Bubbles was ringing out, and all we Ludwig McCloskey and all the old favourites, mate. Really got everybody it got the atmosphere going. It felt like last year again. And that was brilliant. It gave you all hope. It gave you enthusiasm. And then Antonio, well, that sort of breakaway that we had, Antonio goes through and you just think he puts the ball across. I thought, I was waiting what he's going to do. It was like, is he going to play the pass? What's he going to do with it? And for once, he done exactly the right thing, played the perfect ball. Kudos, you wouldn't want anyone else in that position who was in that lineup that evening. There's an argument that if Bowen was fit, you'd rather him on the ball there. But Kudos has popped up there and you just thought, here we go. And after that, not much more happened, but it didn't feel like that because we was at the event and because there was atmosphere and everybody was having a good time and drinks and songs were ringing out. When I saw the stats following the match on the way home, I was surprised how bad it was. It didn't feel that way when we was there, because obviously every time we sort of did see the ball and every time we pushed forward and every time Fabianski made a save, the cheer and the roar in the place was just echoing. So it was like, it just maybe made us feel, because we was with all of our own and because the atmosphere that we had, it felt better than what was actually transpiring on the pitch, to be perfectly honest. So it was a strange one. And then at 1-0, it did go a bit flat, and I was quite surprised because I thought, we're in the 80th minute. We all pretty much said that 1-0 isn't a bad result and we'd all take 1-0. So for it to go as flat as it did, but I think the reason it went as flat as it did, I went to the front and spoke to the DJ, and I was like, he was a bit gutted, and I was like, look, it's everything that we said would be okay. So if we can hang on, I said, but we've got to hang on. And I don't think anyone believed, even though there was only 7 minutes left, that we was going to hang on. And I think everyone was expecting that second goal to come. And I think that's what everyone was so nervous about. And then obviously it did. And that was the real kick, mate. That really hurt, that second goal. At 1-0, I wasn't disappointed. I still had all the enthusiasm in the world. I felt like even though it might not have been pretty, we might have come away with kind of what we'd hoped for. The second goal just really knocked the stuffing out of it, mate, and that was tough to take. So that was hard. And then obviously we went on to the Fulham game, went over there as well with a bit of enthusiasm and saying, right, this is going to set us up nicely for next Thursday. This is where we're going to show a little bit of what we're all about. We're going to bounce back. We're going to, just build the confidence again before Thursday night. And actually what ends up happening is a completely and utter non-event where we barely even got going. I saw a real lack of... Do you put that down to energy levels just being drained? Do you put it down to the psychology of what happened in Germany? Or does it run a bit deeper than that? Or was it just the fact that we had a real bit part team sort of,
I think it's all of it, Frankie. I think there was some tired legs out there, but I can't get away from the fact that prior to Fulham scoring, I thought we started quite brightly. I thought we looked quite good. Antonio missed, a really good opportunity, and Kudus went close with an ambitious effort, but it was well struck and tried to curl into that far post. But I thought we came out the traps and we looked like a team that wanted to win for 7 minutes. But the problem was it only lasted 7 minutes. Fulham went down the other end, and then, Paquetá gave the ball away. They broke down the right. Ball came over. Mavropanos should deal with it better than he does. Then you could make a case that Gerd should be reacting better than he does. Fabianski should not be as rash at flying out his goal like he does. And then Pereira does what Antonio doesn't, which is stay calm and composed and just put it into the back of the net. And it's just one of them where on Thursday when Leverkusen scored the first one, it felt a bit like, okay, right, it was possibly coming. But on Sunday, it was different. It was like, bloody hell, like, how have we managed to be 1-0 down when we've started quite quickly here? But there was just no reaction from us. And actually, every time we went forward, I was a bit worried we were going to lose the ball because whenever Fulham broke, it looked like they were going to create a good chance off the back of it and possibly get another one. And there was just nothing from us. There was just no... I don't know. It was a bit like, the stuffing got knocked out of me on Thursday. It was a bit like that. I felt like the players were as well, that they were a bit demotivated that they'd just been beaten 2-0 by Bayer Leverkusen. Maybe there was a European hangover. And then when you sort of look at the manager for a bit of some changes, there wasn't any. There was personnel changes, but we continued playing the same way that we had been, which led us to be a goal down and struggling to get back into the game. We kept on playing the same formation and the same tactics, and by the end, it was just a massive shambles from us all, really. I think the energy was poor. The lack of squad depth was on show. The lack of form from certain players was on show. There was quite a few individual errors from us. And a lot of the chances Fulham created were self-inflicted. It began with a big mistake by one of our players, and they capitalised on it. And it was just really frustrating because while Sunday should have set us up for this Thursday, tomorrow night, it should have also set us up for next season. Going sixth in the league would have been massive for us. And it would have given us something to play for come Friday. So if we do go out tomorrow, Friday, we can say, right, not ideal, but look at the league table. We're sixth. Crystal Palace, not an easy fixture, but if we can get something against them, we can get European football next season. But actually, that's gone now as well. So if we do go out tomorrow night, we're going to wake up Friday and look at the league and go, we're 8th, but Chelsea are just behind us with 2 games in hand. We've got tough fixtures coming up, and it's just, it's from a week ago. This time last week, I was so excited for the game against Leverkusen. I was quite confident, naively, that we were going to have European football again next season via the league. But since then, Yeah, all the enthusiasm's been sucked out of me, Frankie. A week's a long time in football, and it's. I'm almost sad at how I feel. I keep saying to myself, "Come on, get up! Come on, get going, Gio! Come on, come on!" But logically, it's just I don't know. There's nothing there to sort of encourage me that we can get European football next season, or we can turn this around tomorrow night. Like I said, it comes purely from blind hope. That's all I'm calling on, which is the romance of football. Almost say, come on, there's something, a miracle can happen, and that's what we need now. We need a miracle, and I think that's why I'm sad, because I don't believe in miracles much. Now and again they occur, but not very often, Frankie.
Well, one thing, miracles don't very often happen where West Ham United's concerned. If it was, I still believe Liverpool can go and do what they need to do, even though they're 3-0 down. I do, because Liverpool have done it time and time and time again. So there are certain clubs that seem to be able to make these sort of things happen. I don't think we've had any real history in making these sort of miracles come alive. But at the end of the day, mate, that's why we are on this event. First ever pre-match event from the Colour Factory for the West Ham Fan Factory, and it's all about, mate, just getting everyone in the mood. It's going to be a beer hall vibe. So we've got some tables at the front that you can book. There is this event's a free event. We want to get as many people in there as possible. We want to pack it out. We've got a DJ in there. We're going to really get everybody in the mood. We're going to get the atmosphere building. We're going to sing loads of songs. It's a new option for a pre-match experience, really, and we think it'll be a really good one, a great way to sort of build yourself up to the match. And just also, mate, we're going to do it so even though it's a free event and it's not a paid ticketed event, you still have to grab your tickets on the Eventbrite link, which is in the description below. The reason we've done that is because we want to make sure that numbers are restricted. Basically, mate, because we want to make sure that when you're there, you can get to the bar, you can get a drink. We don't want 4, 5 deep and all that sort of stuff where it's sort of just really, it's a chore. It becomes a bit of a headache when it's like that. So we want people to be able to get a drink. We want loads of space. There's going to be outdoor space if it's sunny. We've got indoor space if the weather's not so good. And we just want to get everyone together who wants to make a bit of an atmosphere, really get in the mood things, try and get that enthusiasm back, try and spark in us what we're going to need to do to take into that stadium, to get behind the team, and basically do everything we can to support that potential miracle happening, mate. Because if we don't go in there believing and we don't go in there right behind them from the very off, then it's definitely not going to happen. So want to get everybody in the mood. We can all walk down to the stadium together. We can all be making loads of noise and singing songs up to the stadium. And then once we go inside, hopefully we can carry that atmosphere through into the ground and get right behind the boys, mate, which is what it's all about. So free event, Eventbrite tickets are must if you want to guarantee yourself to be able to get entry. If there is space, we will be letting people in on the door. However, the way ticket sales are going, it's probably unlikely. I keep getting messages from Eventbrite saying your tickets are selling fast, add some more tickets. But we're not going to be adding more tickets because we want a really perfect environment for everyone where there's a bit of space. You can always get a drink and you can really enjoy that sort of pre-match build-up. So I'm looking forward to that, mate. That's going to be a good one. And hopefully then we can roll on into next season where we can have a new destination for people to go to before a match. So, yeah, that's going to be good. Mate, Lucas Paquetá come in for a lot of stick since the other evening. Actually, he was getting stick before the Fulham game, but he certainly got a lot of stick following the Fulham game. I think really because everyone felt, well, you're not playing on Thursday night. It's kind of your almost responsibility to make something happen in the Fulham game and be the man who's grabbing that by the scruff of the neck and almost saying, well, not that you let us down, because bookings happen in football and it kind of is what it is, but you're not going to be playing. So we expect all of your energy that would have been there on Thursday night to go into this match on Sunday. Maybe he didn't quite show that. So he come in for a lot of stick on social media, mate. Do you think that was justly, or do you think it was a bit unfair?
Justified. I think you've got to treat every player and manager with It's quite a simple format, in my opinion. First of all, just be honest, and second of all, praise and credit where it's due, criticism where it's due. It's that simple. I don't think anybody should be void of praise or criticism. That's why when we play well and we win, I'm happy to give Moyes credit for it. I know we're talking about Paquetá, but I think Moyes is the biggest divider here. I'm happy to credit Moyes and praise him, but likewise, when we play poorly and I think the manager could have done more, I'll say I think the manager could have done more today. I'm happy to play. And I think you've got to apply that to the players as well. And that includes Lucas Paquetá, Mohamed Kudus, Jabo, insert popular player here. So I'm one of the ones that have criticised him for 3 games now. I thought he was poor against Wolves. Fantastic penalty, but I thought he was poor in the game. Against Leverkusen on Thursday, again, I thought he was poor. I thought he was possibly our worst outfielder that night. Not and on Sunday against Fulham again, I thought him and Mavropanos were the two that disappointed me. And I think he was fortunate not to get sent off, truth be told. I thought Paquetá should have got sent off in the last minute for belting Polina like that. And that would have been a 3-game ban for violent conduct. We've only got 5 games. He missed 3 of them. You can't have that. It's just stupidity, losing your head like that. And I get it. He's frustrated. We all are. But it doesn't mean you can start leathering other people on the pitch and possibly getting sent off. And I was more disappointed with that than his performance because I can shrug off a bad game. I know he's had, in my opinion, had 3 now, but it's going to happen. And I think on Thursday, I will give him this sort of get out of jail card, which is it's difficult for a flair player to perform well when you're defending for 90 minutes. It is hard to influence the game. But we did not employ a low block on Sunday. And I've seen some people say that they're like sort of sick of Moyes' low block in regards to Sunday's game, but I didn't see that at all. We had 60% possession. Like, we never do that. We had the ball for once. It's the problem was we just don't know what to do with it. I thought Marco Silva played sort of traditional Moyes ball, and it worked perfectly. Sat back, kept it tight, kept it compact, waited for us to make a mistake, waited for us to turn the ball over, then break quickly and get bodies forward. And I thought they did it perfectly. That Fulham performance on Sunday, in my opinion, was a David Moyes wet dream. That is what we used to be really good at when we had Jesse Lingard and that in the team. We were really good at sitting in, staying compact, making it difficult. And then when we won the ball, we broke quickly and we were clinical. But Sunday, Paquetá had plenty of the ball and we were further up the pitch, and he still struggled to influence the game. And this is where, when people, suggest that, Arriola is possibly one of the best keepers this season, I don't disagree with that. I think he's been brilliant for us. But the guy is also on over 100 grand a week. He's also one of the most well-paid goalkeepers in the league. So I expect him to be one of the better goalkeepers. And it's a bit like that with Paquetá, not just wages-wise, but he gets off with things from Moyes that no other player, possibly bar Jesse Lingard, I've seen get off with under David Moyes from either tenure. Marko Arnautovic in the first one, but in the second one, since Moyes has come back in over 4 years now, Paquetá gets away with things that only Lingard got away with, which was a lack of discipline, lack of sort of tracking back or whatever. Moyes has to accommodate him more than other players, and I think he should do that, and I think it's the right thing to do. I think that's good management. It's a bit like a Slaven Bilic, like Dimitri Payet with a little bit more than other players. Good, because he's that bloody good. You have to sort of make accommodations for players like that. But I think the player has to then justify it. You have to then back it up on the pitch and say, this is why I'm afforded more. You always hear it about Carlos Tevez was crap in training, didn't want to train, but on a Saturday he would turn up and well, how do you not play him? And I was on Sunday, I was just waiting for Paquetá to do something because Bowen was out. So it was a case of, well, he or Kudus is going to have to turn up. And Kudus tried, but didn't do anything. But Paquetá was just one of his poorer performances in a West Ham shirt, actually. And there's a lot of talk about if certain players are looking, or managers looking a bit disinterested and giving up, which I think is a fair discussion to have. Actually, on Sunday, I looked at Paquetá thinking, is he giving up a bit now? Now we're practically out of European football. He's quite clearly wants to move to Man City, and I don't blame him. I would just like him to give everything to West Ham between now and that move to the Etihad. Just because one thing, as much as Declan Rice is a bit of a taboo subject, I felt that he gave everything He didn't perform well in the Conference League final. He wasn't good, but I never felt like a dip in effort or a lack of commitment prior to the inevitable. I felt like he gave everything to West Ham before his move. Whereas I looked at Paquetá on Sunday and I thought, oh, come on then. Where's that? Show us that you're an £85 million player worthy of playing for Man City, because I didn't see it. So is the criticism fair? I think it is. But likewise, if he performs really well against Crystal Palace, the praise will be fair as well. You've got to take both, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we are seeing a little bit of that. I think some people expect that if you've got a world-class player in a team that they're maybe not surrounded by people quite on their level, that you expect that player to constantly grab the game by the scruff of the neck, to constantly try and pull you through, drag the team up almost. And Declan used to do that very well. There used to be times where I think he was leaps and bounds above the rest of the players. We may not have been having a particularly good game or doing very well, and he'd try and get the ball and he'd try and drive it forward and he'd try and make things happen. But actually Declan was guilty of this as well at times, where he started to get very frustrated. You see, sometimes he had that energy and enthusiasm of, look, I'm going to show you how to do this sort of thing. And then other times you saw him just throwing his arms up in the air and just getting really, I think we're seeing that from Paquetá. I think there are times where he's looking up and he wants to play the pass, but there's no movement. There's no one on the same level. There's no one thinking the same way. He almost wants to play that over the top pass. You actually saw it a little bit where he kept trying to do that over the top pass against Fulham, but no one was really making that run. But he was almost playing it in spite, just to say, look, that's where you should be, like, go get there. But no one was on that wavelength that Paquetá was on. And I think, you know, he's probably somebody, and the type of character that he is, that where Declan would probably suffer it more, I think Paquetá is someone who has got less patience and isn't going to tolerate, you know, people not being quite on the same level as him. And I think probably, mate, we're seeing it a little bit from Kudus as well. I think Kudus, there's not for a want of trying. I think he's putting in so much effort. You can see him doing everything he can. There's plenty of energy and he's trying to get himself into the game. But there are times where he breaks forward, he looks around and there's no one anywhere near him, no one even trying to get near him. And he's just looking around thinking, well, what am I meant to do? And he ends up just playing a ball backwards, almost just to say, well, that's all I can do with it. There's nothing else I've got available to me. So it's a tough one, mate, because when you've got these sorts of players, when they're getting frustrated like that, there's only one thing that they do, which is end up leaving the football club. I think I listened to yours and Gonzo's pre-match show for Leverkusen earlier, and Gonzo was really frustrated with the January transfer window. And I mean, he really sort of got quite upset. He was screaming about it. And I make him right. And it's not just because what it's left us with. Well, it is, because at the end of the day, when we was in the amount of competitions that we were still in, i.e. European football, and we were still chasing Europe in the league, we needed extra bodies. We did. There's no question about it. And especially letting two go and none coming in, that was totally imbalanced. But I think sometimes if they see that in every window you're bringing somebody in to move forward and to keep trying to bring somebody else in on their level who's going to be able to keep improving that first team squad, then they can be a bit more patient, because they think, well, it's coming. I can see the club are trying to improve. They are trying to get better players around me. They are trying to build. That's fair enough. When you do nothing, that's when the players really get disheartened, because they think, well, you're just looking to just depend on me. And I'm not going to be that person who just sort of sits around with subpar players. You're just trying to lean on literally just me. Sorry, but you know, I'm not interested in that. I want to play with good teams. I want to play with teams that are ambitious. I want to play with better players. And you always find that when you have good players, mate, when they've got good players around them, the level goes up again. So, you know, it's I think we need to be careful. I think the summer is going to be really important. You know, I think a lot of people feel like Paquetá's already gone, but Kudus is someone who's, you know, probably going to stick around. Well, we need to show him a reason for sticking around, or otherwise it won't be very long before he goes out the door as well. So I don't know, mate. I'm looking to Thursday night. We're depleted. We haven't really got many options available to us. We're all praying for Jared Bowen. But, mate, they've just won the league. weird things happen, mate. I know they're professional. I get they're professional. I'm not saying they've all been on the piss, but there's something mentally and psychologically that you have this build up to try and achieve something. They've done it. Yes, okay, they've still got 2 competitions that they're in that they're trying to win. But maybe, just maybe, mate, there might be a little bit of switching off in their mind now. They've won that for the first time in their history, and they might take their eye off the ball a little bit. So that's my hope. We just need something to click. I don't know how it's going to click. I don't know what's going to happen. I hear lots of people shouting for Cornet. I understand why, because we haven't got a lot of options available, but there's nothing that gives me confidence that he's necessarily going to be somebody who can come in and even do a job.
What an opportunity, though. If you're a player that's not had a chance, and this, Moyes can just take him to the side this week and say, look, we've not seen eye to eye. There's no secret about that. I know you're your biggest fan. You're probably not my biggest fan, but you're starting on Thursday. Make yourself a hero, and you're starting on Sunday. You'll be starting the rest of the season. I'll make sure there's an opportunity for him to sort of turn it around a little bit. And we've seen it with Yarmolenko. He would pop up with key goals. Chelsea in the 3-2 win against Chelsea, Sevilla at home, where he went from a joke, a meme, to actually a good option to have off the bench. And when you saw Yarmolenko, in a very short space of time, Yarmolenko went from somebody you didn't want to see to actually, when you need a goal, come have Yarmolenko on, please, because he can actually come on and do something here. So there's an opportunity here for 3 players to become heroes on Thursday night. And this is where you can tap into Maxwell Cornet. Because one thing I will say, when he came on against Fulham, albeit it was a very short period of time, and I felt a bit sorry for him. The guy was running around. He would have been well within his rights to sit there and say, I don't want to come on. I'm sorry, Gaffer, but you put George Earthy on ahead of me. I'm only coming on because there's an injury. I don't wish to come on. But he came on and ran about enthusiastically. I actually felt a bit sorry watching him, because I felt like we've all played football in the past where there's somebody in the squad, he's a bit crap, right? He's crap. And he comes into training and works really hard. You almost feel a bit sorry for him, because you think no matter how hard you try, you're not playing at the weekend because you're not good enough. And it was a bit like that watching Cornet running around. I just thought, first of all, the game is over. It's 2-0. The tempo of the game's gone now because of what's just happened to George Earthy. But he was still trying. I just felt really sorry for him. I thought, even now, the guy is still just trying to do something for us. Listen, we need a miracle. I've seen Cornet score belters for Burnley, and it might be that somebody's got to hit a 30-yarder on tomorrow night. Someone might have to come up with a little bit of magic. And the more players capable of doing that, the better. And Cornet is capable. He's not in a West Ham shirt, but he's shown in a Burnley shirt, in a Lyon shirt, that actually he can do something. He can score a goal of individual brilliance. And I just hope that he gets his opportunity tomorrow night, because if we go 1-0 up tomorrow, that place will be absolutely
It will erupt,
bouncing.
mate. It will
be bouncing. And I've got no doubt that come kick-off, that bubbles will be sung loud and proud, and everybody will be behind the boys. Just because you think, and this is what frustrates me with some people when they reply to comments and stuff, just because you think we're going to lose doesn't mean you're not going to turn up and support the team. You're allowed to think we're probably going to lose tonight.
I never think we're going to lose, Gio.
I know you don't.
We can't.
No, but it's able that when you get to the stadium, you're going to go in there and give it all and support the boys and try and get them over the line. Just because you think a certain player shouldn't be playing, or a certain scoreline's going to happen, or you're worried because there's no Jared Bowen. When the game kicks off, you put all of that to one side. You think, great, forget all that. I'm going to root for the boys. I'm going to cheer it on and hopefully witness a really spectacular win. And then those grievances I've got about the club, I'll pick them up on the way out. When I turn up to London Stadium, I'm not going to complain about my season ticket price increase. I'm going to complain about that next week. But for the next 90 minutes, I'm going to support the boys. And it's just what football fans do. If we can score the first goal tomorrow, regardless of which minute,
it's game on.
Even if it's in the 80th minute, 10, 15 minutes to go get another goal, that place will be absolutely rocking. And I think the best thing to do, weirdly, is not to be 2 up at halftime, but weirdly to be 1-0 up at halftime. I think when that second half kicks off, that place will be absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
The players will be foaming at the mouth in the changing room for that 15 minutes, itching to get back out on that pitch and get going again. Xabi Alonso will have a rare issue, which is what your goal down, what do you do? They've come back from games. They've shown that all season, but it's not often. It's not often they got a goal down. So we score the first goal tomorrow night. Game on. It's just...
Mate, you gave me visions there talking about the Yarmolenko and stuff and Cornet. I just got visions of that IU double. Tottenham away at Wembley, where we were sort of 2-0 down and thinking it's game over, and then all of a sudden we turned that around. That was unbelievable. So we need a bit of that magic, mate.
Tomorrow is set for a hero. James Ward-Prowse corner, bang, a Gerd's there, smashing it home with his head or something. It's often nights like tomorrow night, if there is a miracle, often it's someone you don't expect that grabs the headlines. And this is where it's Cornet, or you play Mubama up front with Antonio, whatever. He's got to do something because of the unavailable players. You know, left back's a bit of an issue, left wing back, if he wants to go 3 at the back again. I've almost convinced myself we're going to see Fabianski, Mavropanos, Zuma, Craswell, obviously a Gerd if any are unavailable, Johnson, Soufal, and then a midfield 3 of Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Souček, and Kudus and Antonio up front. I've almost convinced myself that's what we're going to see, and it'll be a case of get the ball to them two and just let them run at that Leverkusen defence.
Antonio turns up with that attitude he did in the first leg, he was battering him. If he goes into him again and goes in with the same, but he's got Kudus actually closer to him this time to feed off of it. There's absolutely no reason they can't cause a lot of trouble.
Weirdly, I thought Kudus battered them to some extent because he was travelling with the ball 20, 30 yards quite often. It's just that he was getting smothered by 3-4 players and had no support. But actually, put him more centrally alongside Antonio, you've got 2 players that's capable of travelling 30, 40 yards with the ball. Before you know it, you're on the edge of their 18-yard, and you don't have to have a shot. Just win a throw-in outside their box, win a free kick, win a corner, just do something. Antonio's always been like, I've got frustrations with his decision-making sometimes, but I'll tell you what he is good at is outside the 18-yard. I think usually his decision-making can be really good, which is when to try and win a free kick, when to try and take it down the line, when to try and just accept a throw-in, just make it difficult so the defender has to head it or clear it out for a throw-in. Give your team a breather, move 50 yards up the pitch.
Well, that's what it is, isn't it? It's territory, mate. It's getting up the pitch. That is what it is.
I think Antonio's really good at that aspect of the game. And I thought against Leverkusen, like you said, he hassled their defenders from start to finish. He was absolutely shattered. And I thought he did the same to Fulham, by the way. I thought he had a good game on Sunday. The problem was he was on the left wing. That was the issue. He kept on traveling all the way down to the corner flag without much issue. Just that when he got there, he didn't have anyone to aim for, and he was having to play it back to Emerson. But I thought he did well against Fulham. I thought him and Fabianski were the only 2 players that came away with credit for me on Sunday afternoon. But if we can get beast mode Antonio, we can get X Factor Kudus, that could be enough. Because last week, they didn't concede. They did not score an open play, and I appreciate that they didn't necessarily have their strongest 11 out. Hoffman and Boniface was waiting, but I don't know. I'm almost talking myself into believing that we're going to do this.
That's what you've got to do, mate. Right
if Bowen's
there,
on the bench. If Bowen's on, even if Bowen's on the bench, and we can, I don't know, be 1-0 up with half an hour to go, and Bowen's coming on, suddenly it's like hello.
Yeah, no, it is, mate. And what you just, I said just then, I never think we're going to lose. That was the wrong thing to say. I do think sometimes that we're going to get beat, but I make myself believe, mate. I convince myself that we're going to do it, and I have convinced myself. Well, to be fair, I'd always said that we win the home tie. I said, but will we have enough? Will we still be in it from the away leg that, you know, when we bring them back, that we beat them at home and it will be enough? And I just hope that it will be enough for the, you know, I still believe we're going to win. And I said to you, I'm worried that we'll win though, and it won't be enough because the aggregate score is going to let us down. And that 2 goals is not what I wanted. The 1 goal I knew we could do it. 2 goals is a tough position to be in, mate. But I believe, and I'm getting over there early, mate. If this is the last one, going out with a bang, mate. I'm going to get over there early doors. I'm going to soak it all up. Hopefully we got the sun shining like it is today. Get outside the Hackney Wick area and start to build everything up, and then into the fan factory. get some music on. The DJ will be there again playing some tunes, good food, which is always nice. The food in there is really good as well. And just build up to it, mate. Get more and more excited as it goes, and then have a walk down to the ground, sing some songs, and get right behind the boys. So I'm looking forward to it, mate. Anybody who wants to grab a ticket, to guarantee that they'll have access to the Fan Factory, they're free. They're on Eventbrite. You can go on there and grab them now. Link is in the description below. Yeah, grab your tickets. Make sure you can get in. If there is any available space, then we will be letting people in on the door. But I strongly advise that, just so you're not disappointed, that if you've purchase your tickets on the Eventbrite link, you are absolutely 100% guaranteed to get yourself access. So for peace of mind, it makes sense to do that. Mate, prediction now. I know it's a little bit obvious, but are we going to do it, mate? Are we going to push ourselves on to this Italian adventure that awaits if we can overturn this?
No.
Yeah.
I want, listen, I can sit here and say, yeah, I believe we're going to do it, but I'd be lying, Frankie. I don't think we will. I think we will give it everything. I'm confident that we're going to turn up and there'll be a spirited display and there'll be a performance that we can come away proud of. But it's more Leverkusen than West Ham. I think if we were full strength, then I'd maybe believe if we had Emerson. I think Emerson's the big miss, really. And possibly Bowen, obviously, but I think Emerson's huge. It just causes a lot of problems down that side and what to do. But if we had our strongest 11, then maybe. But I just think I watched Leverkusen on Sunday while they were on at the same time as Arsenal Villa, and I was watching both games, and they were just so good, so professional, so bloody good, so slick. And I know it was to win the title and stuff like that, but they had a job to do on Sunday. And they did it incredibly well. And they've got a job to do tomorrow night. And I just think if this was a different team, one coached by Mourinho, I'd say, brilliant, they're going to turn up and park the bus. Let's go for it. I think they're going to come out and attack us. I think they're going to come out and try and get this tie over and done with early doors. And I think sometimes that can play into our hands. But a team like Leverkusen, I'm not so sure. If it was Brentford, certainly, yeah, we'll win. We'll capitalise on that enthusiasm at attacking us, but yeah, I think we'll score, but I think we're going to go out tomorrow, unfortunately. And I've almost accepted it and got into like a state of mourning, and I basically started to think, you know what, I've loved the last 3 years of European football, absolutely loved it. Growing up, I never ever thought this was going to be something I'd see at West Ham, but I've witnessed it, I've loved it. I want more of it next season, and it's one of them where, yeah, I think we can be proud of our efforts over the last 3. A semi-final, a winner, granted the Conference League, and then quarter-finalists. And as somebody said when we drew them, in regards to Moyes potentially getting a new deal though, but what he said was going out against Leverkusen is almost like a noble defeat. And I think that's an applicable phrase, actually. That
Sodom, mate. There's nothing noble in defeat. We are going to go into this.
You get what I mean,
mate. We're going to turn it over. We're going to perform the miracle. It's going to be the biggest turn up that everyone's ever going to see, mate.
I hope you're right, Frankie.
We're going to do them, mate. We're going to do them.
I hope you're right.
I believe. Once they get in there and we're alight and the stadium's absolutely electric, mate, they've had all of their little party that they've had this weekend. They ain't going to be expecting us to come out on the front foot. Kudus and Antonio are going to batter them. We're going to get that early goal. The roof's going to come off that stadium. They ain't going to know what's hit them. And then we're just going to go bang, 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 3-0, game over, on we go to Italy.
Well,
game
I hope
on.
You're
That's
right.
it.
And if you are, I look forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks ahead.
Absolutely,
of
mate.
the Colour Factory event for the away leg against one of the Italians. Can't wait.
That's what it's all about. Right, mate, thanks for jumping on. Appreciate it. Tickets are already coming through since we've been doing this video. Tickets went on sale last night. They are flying out. So I'm fully expecting it to be a full capacity down at the Colour Factory, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be uncomfortable. We've limited the numbers so everyone will be able to get a drink. It's not going to be difficult at the bar. You'll be able to get food. You'll be able to enjoy the DJ, the music, the pre-match build-up and atmosphere. So, yeah, do grab a ticket, and hopefully I will see everyone down there tomorrow.
And I'll see you there for the away leg.
That's it, Gio. Top man. See you later, everyone.